All right, morning everyone. So for today, we'll finish the synchronous discussion for Math 28 Bridging Program. So ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon are on sections 4.4, 4.5, and 4.6. 4.4 is on changing bounds of integration. Okay, so if you have the order of integration dx dy, how will you change the bounds if you want to have the order to be dy dx? Okay. 4.5 4.5 is on multiple integrals in polar coordinate system. And 4.6 is on multiple integrals in cylindrical and spherical coordinate system. Okay? So, kung meron kayong mga questions, please type your questions, or you may use the raise hand button so that I can give you time to ask your question. Okay, so kung wala kayong tanong, we start with 4.5, answering several questions in the exercises. Okay. So I have invited Ma'am Kyrel Verano to discuss 4.5. Okay. Kaya lang meron atang to discuss 4.4. Kaya lang meron atang difficulty in her area right now. Okay. Pakita ka na lang, Ma'am Kay. Ayan. Maingay daw kasi sa area niya. May construction nagaganap. So, I will just show the video answering the exercise, few exercise or few items from the exercises. Okay. Siguro Ma'am Kai, kahit naka-on dapat yung video mo while playing the video, ha? Ay, in-off niya.
Answers natin sa ibang items sa 4.4. So I selected only 2 items. First one is number 2. So we change the order of integration sa double integral from dy dx to dx dy. So we emphasized last time in the video that from these bounds, we first have to sketch the region of integration. So you have from y is equal to 1 to y is equal to 2 minus x squared, and x is equal to negative 1 to x is equal to 1. We draw. So we draw the curves, the parabola. Y is equal to 2 minus x squared, and y is equal to 1. So ito yung region of integration. Hindi ko lang na-shaded. Okay? So in dy dx, you imagine a vertical strip. So pag i-change mo siya sa dx dy, so meron kang horizontal strip. Okay, so unahin natin yung outer bounds since constant lang siya. Okay, so mag-base ka din dito. So you have from y is equal to 1 to y is equal to 2. And then, for the inner bound, for x, mag-base ka din sa curve na to this curve, which is x is equal to negative square root of 2 minus y, 2x equal to square root of 2 minus y. Okay, take note na ito yung semi-parabola, yung function, negative, tapos ito yung semi-parabola na positive. So you have this double integral with order dx dy. So I also chose number 3, letter B, where you need to change the order of integration. Triple naman siya. From dy dx dz to dz dy dx, tsaka dx dz dy. Okay. So I used GeoGebra dun sa mga graphs dito. Okay, so dati sabi natin yung to-take note natin yung last two variables. So meron kang region, projection dun sa region sa XZ plane. And you have this solid. Okay, so ginawa ko animated para ma-imagine mo yung itsura niya. Yung solid, dyan ay yung enclosed ng surface na to, tapos yung mga planes. Imagine nyo na lang. Okay. So if we need to change it to the order dz, dy, dx, unahin natin tignan yung region sa yx or xy plane. So ito siya. It's very easy kapag nasa GeoGebra kasi madali mo siyang manipulate yung graph. So from here, you get the bounds for y. Y is equal to 0 to y is equal to 5. And then bounds for x equal to 0 to 2. Okay, now for the bound.
Sorry for that. Hindi daw nagmo-move yung video. Pero may sound. Pero wala siyang sound.
So you have from y is equal to 1 to y is equal to 2 minus x squared and x is equal to negative 1 to x is equal to 1. We draw. So we draw the curves, the parabola. Y is equal to 2 minus x squared. Then y is equal to 1. So ito yung region of integration. Hindi ko lang na-shadean. Okay? So in dy dx, you imagine a vertical strip. So pag i-change mo siya sa dx dy, so meron kang horizontal strip. Okay. So unahin natin yung outer bounds since constant lang siya. Okay, so magbe-base ka rin dito. So you have from y is equal to 1 to y is equal to 2. And then, for the inner bound, for x, magbe-base ka din sa curve na to this curve, which is x is equal to negative square root of 2 minus y, to x equal to square root of 2 minus y. Okay, take note na ito yung semi-parabola, yung function, yung negative, tapos ito yung semi-parabola na positive. So you have this double integral with order dx dy. So I also chose number 3, letter B, where you need to change the order of integration. Triple naman siya. From dy dx dz to dz dy dx. Tsaka dx dz dy. Okay. So I used GeoGebra dun sa mga graphs dito. Okay, so dati sabi natin yung to take note natin yung last two variables. So meron kang region, projection dun sa region sa XZ plane. And you have this solid. Okay, so ginawa kong animated para ma-imagine yung itsura niya. Yung solid dyan ay yung enclosed ng surface na to, tapos yung mga planes. Imagine nyo na lang. Okay. So if we need to change it to the order dz, dy, dx, unahin natin tignan yung region sa yx or xy plane. So ito siya. It's very easy kapag nasa GeoGebra kasi madali mo siyang i-manipulate yung graph. So from here, you get the bounds for y. Y is equal to 0 to y is equal to 5. And then bounds for x equal to 0 to 2. Okay. Now for the bounds of z, titingin ka ulit dun sa solid. So itong projection na to is yung part na dito. So yung z naman is yung between ng surface ng plane na nandito tsaka nung surface na to, which is z is equal to 4 minus x squared. Yan yung cylinder. Okay? So you have the bounds for z from z is equal to 0, yung plane, to this cylinder, z is equal to 4 minus x squared. So you have these bounds, triple integral with dz dy dx order. So dx dz dy, it's similar. You have two variables. So yz, titignan mo yung projection niya sa yz plane. So this is its projection in the yz plane. So parang ang kinuha ko ata dyan is top view. Kaya may pink. Okay, from there you get these bounds. Z is equal to 0 to 4, y is equal to 0 to 5. Okay, from this surface or the solid, so makikita nyo itong projection na to ay nandito sa yz plane. Dito sa part na to. Okay, so your bounds for x would be from this plane, kung nasaan man tong plane na to, which is x is equal to 0, to this cylinder. Okay, so we have x equal to 0 to x equal to square root of 4 minus z. From this, you get the new set of bounds for the order dx dz dy. Okay, so I hope masagutan niyo yung iba. That's all for now.
Alright. Thank you, Ma'am Kai. Tama ba yung nakuha niyong answer to that problem? Yes. May nag-raise ng hand. Please. LL Tayag. Pero wala ka namang question? Okay. Alright, so okay tayo with that section. So kung wala naman kayong question, so I think we can proceed with section 4.5. Okay. So we proceed with section 4.5. I have invited Ma'am Jemel to discuss some items on that section. Morning, Ma'am Jemel.
Hi, sir. Morning, sir. Malinaw po yung boses ko. Pa-share
Yeah.
screen naman.
Pwede.
Application
Nakaano?
window. Yan. Ito po. Kita niyo po ba yung screen ko?
Yep.
So, pumili lang ako ng dalawang items din para sa double integrals in polar coordinates. So, I choose number 3 and number 5 kasi yung number 1 naman is evaluation lang ng integral. Tapos yung 2 and 3 ay pagpapalit na conversion na from Cartesian to polar, and then yung last ay pagsiset up ng volume using polar coordinates. So, number 3, so for number 3, the one yung nakasulat. Pero for number 3, we're asked to convert the double integral of e to the x squared y squared dA over the region R, where R is the region bounded by x equals y and x between 0 to 1. So for this item, no, ang importante kasi sa pagko-convert from Cartesian to polar is that we know kung ano yung itsura ng region natin. So kahit naman sa ibang parts ng multiple integrals, kailangan lagi alam natin kung ano yung itsura ng region. So for this one, yung itsura ng region natin is this. So meron tayong line x equals y, tapos bounded siya by x greater than or equal to 0 to x but less than or equal to 1. So here, dapat naka-shade yung region, no? Pero hindi ko na na-shade. So, ito po yung region natin. So, yung right triangle na ito. So, para sa bounds ng R natin, so, unlike dun sa Cartesian, ang polar coordinate, yung pagkuha ng bounds ng R is from the pole going to the curve. So, here, from the pole, so yung pole natin is this one. So, going to the curve na tatamaan niya, lagi ang tatamaan niya is yung line na x equals 1. So, ang goal natin is to find kung ano yung equation na x equals 1 sa polar. So, here, yun, x equals 1. So, alam natin na yung x, so kung nanood kayo ng video, yung x is r cosine theta. So, r cosine theta equals 1 siya. So, ngayon, we solve for r in terms of theta. So, we'll have r equals 1 over cosine theta, which is just secant theta. So, meaning, ang ating bound for r will be from 0 to secant theta. Now, for the bound naman ni theta, no, kung mapapansin nyo, laging dito tayo mag-start sa positive, kung sa Cartesian tayo, no, ito yung positive x-axis. So, going counterclockwise. So, we start from 0 here. So, from theta equals 0 to kung ano man itong, kung, ano nga to? Diba, sa x equals y, no, kailan ba nagiging equal yung x at y pag, anong theta nagiging equal si x at si y? So, in this case, kung we'll get here, r cosine theta equals r sine theta, and then you'll get tan theta equals 1. So, theta equals 1, tan theta equals 1 whenever theta is equal to pi over 4. So, you'll have from 0 to pi over 4. So, if we're going to set up our double integral in Cartesian coordinate, so meron na tayong bounds for r and theta. Tapos, papalitan na lang natin tong x squared, y squared. So, we know that x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. So, we'll have, and of course, we'll change dA to r dr d theta. So, we'll have here, so integral from 0 to pi over 4, integral from 0 to secant theta, e to the r squared r dr d theta. So, meron po ba tayong katanungan dito sa item na to? Sorry, hindi ko po makikita yung chat box. Pero pasabi ko may tanong po sila.
Wala pa namang question so far.
Thank you, sir. So, yun po, ganun po yung pag-convert from Cartesian to polar. Now, sige, punta tayo dun sa last item, sa number 5. So, ito naman, no, set up the iterated double integral of the volume of the solid under z equals 4 and z equals square root of x squared plus y squared in the first octant using polar coordinates. So, dito, gumamit ako ng GeoGebra. Sige lang, mag-stop sharing tayo. Wait. Nag-stop sharing po talaga ako. So, gumamit ako ng GeoGebra 3D calculator para mag-graph yung z equals 4 tsaka z equals square root of x squared plus y squared. So, z equals 4 is a plane, and then z equals square root of x squared plus y squared is cone. So, ito po yung itsura niya sa 3D. Now, ang una, pag sa-set up tayo ng double iterated integral na in polar coordinates, dapat alam natin kung anong itsura nung ano yung parang projection nung ating solid sa polar plane. So here, kung makikita nyo po, no, sa first octant lang po tayo. So, dapat first quadrant lang. So, mapapansin nyo na circle yung kanyang projection sa polar plane. Ito po yun. Pero since first octant lang, so yung 1/4 lang po nung circle yung titignan natin. Ayan, so ito pala. So for the region of integration, so hanapin muna natin yung region of integration natin. So again, ito lang po, quarter of a circle lang po yung ating region of integration, and the equation of this circle is x squared plus y x squared plus y squared equals 16, no? So ang radius niya ay 4, no? Okay? Then we set up kung ano yung area ng region na to sa polar coordinates. So yung area of integration sa polar coordinates is this, no? Kasi 'di ba, ang bounds for r would be from pole to the curve. So yung from 0 to, tapos itong lagi niya naman tatamaan is yung circle lang. So 0 to 4, yung radius ng circle is 4. 0 to 4. And then for our theta, it's from 0 to pi over 2. So that's the area of integration. Now, pagkatapos natin kuhanin yung area of integration ng region, i-incorporate na natin yung height. So paano natin kukunin yung height? So kung kanina mapapansin nyo, yung height natin ay yung ang nasa taas niya is yung plane, z equals 4. Then yung nasa ilalim lagi is yung cone. So for the height, no, bounded above siya by z equals 4 and bounded below by z equals square root of x squared plus y squared, which is in polar. Pag ginawa natin siya in terms of r and theta, that would be z equals r. So yung ating height would be 4 minus r. And then to set up for the volume, in terms of polar, no, we just incorporate the height by gagawin nating integrand yung height nung solid. So it would be this one. So nadagdag lang dito yung 4 minus r. So yun po. May katanungan po ba tayo?
May nag-PM sa akin.
Sige po. Ano pong
Paano
tanong
po
niya?
ulit nakuha yung bounds dun sa theta?
Ng ano pong item?
First item
Yung
to,
pong
no?
first item po.
Hindi, tinatanong ko yung nag-PM sa akin. Yeah, first item daw.
First item po. Wait lang po. May whiteboard ba dito? Ganito po. Pero hindi ko kasi siya naisama sa solution, pero i-type natin. So, di ba po yung ating, meron tayong x equals y, no? So, yun yung hinahanap natin na theta. Ay, doon natin hahanapin yung theta. So, here, meron kang, wait, hindi pala ako naka-share screen, sorry. Yan. So, again, di ba may, yung bounds na, yung magiging, huling tatamaan niya is yung x equals y for theta, di ba? So, again, meron kang x equals y. So, x is equal to r cosine theta. Tapos, equal siya sa y naman is r sine theta. And, ngayon, assuming na si r hindi 0, so we have here cosine theta, cosine theta. Tapos, I will divide both sides by cosine theta. So, magkakaroon ako ng bales, sine theta over cosine theta equals 1. Pero, di ba yung sine theta over cosine theta is just tangent theta. So, meron tayong tangent theta equals 1. Now, yung tangent theta equals 1, kailan ba nagiging equal sa 1 yung tangent theta? Diba? Pag ang ating theta is pi over 4 kung nasa first quadrant tayo. Kaya, yung theta natin, in this case, is equal to pi over 4. Yun po. May katanungan pa po?
Understood daw. Thank you daw.
Okay po. Top shape.
Okay, so meron pa kayong concern, questions with double integrals in polar coordinates? Madali ba siya? Mahirap daw. Okay, so kung wala kayong question, we move to the last section of Math 28, and that is triple integrals in cylindrical and spherical coordinates. Okay? So I will just answer one problem from the exercise. Okay. So triple integrals in cylindrical and spherical coordinates. The important thing here is that you know how to convert from Cartesian equation to cylindrical equation, and from Cartesian equation to spherical equation. And also important then yung pag-convert from a given point in a given coordinate system to the other coordinate system. All right? Basically, cylindrical equations or cylindrical coordinate system is just an extension of the polar coordinate system. Okay? So we start with this problem, or we answer this problem. I think this is item number 3 in the exercise. Set up the triple integral given by that one, x squared plus y squared plus z squared over s dv using 3 coordinate system, where s is the solid enclosed by the cone, z equals the square root of x squared plus y squared under the sphere, x squared plus y squared plus z squared equals 9. Okay? So the important thing here first is to determine the solid being considered. Kasi yan ang mag-guide sa inyo on how to identify the bounds of integration. Okay? So we have here a cone, z equals x squared, square root of x squared plus y squared. And we have a sphere, x squared plus y squared plus z squared equals 9. So the solid is being enclosed by these two surfaces. So this should be our region. Okay? So dito pinakita ko lang yung sphere and yung cone. So yung enclosed by those two surfaces is the solid being considered. Okay? So yung solid natin is yung nasa baba, yung cone, tapos meron kang sphere sa taas. So para siyang ice cream cone. Okay? Where you have an ice cream on top. Okay. So take note, ito yung solid na i-consider natin. So first, kunin natin yung volume using the Cartesian coordinate system. Okay? So using the Cartesian coordinate system, ang gamitin natin na bounds, ang gamitin natin na order of integration, yung innermost integration or inner bound is dz.
Sir, yung title page lang nakikita namin.
Ay, talaga ba? Kanina sa video, ganun din sa akin, ano?
Opo. Ayan,
Kasi,
sir.
ganito na lang. Kita yung screen?
Yung using Cartesian coordinates po.
Okay. So, ganyan na lang. Ano ba naman itong si
Yan po.
PDF? Balikan natin. Balikan natin si solid. So, you have a cone. Okay? So, yung cone natin. That is the equation given by z equals square root of x squared plus y squared. And you have a sphere. X squared plus y squared plus z squared equals 9. So, yung solid considered is yung mukhang ice cream cone. Okay? So yung nasa gilid natin, lateral surface natin is bounded by the cone, and yung top region natin is bounded by the sphere. Okay? So now let's use Cartesian coordinates in determining the volume of the solid. Okay? So balikan ulit natin yung region. That is the region being considered or the solid being considered. Okay? So ang gagamitin natin ng order of integration, yung innermost integral natin will be bounded by z. So kung yung pinakaloob na integral natin will be bounded by z, so the function to be considered are functions of z. So ibig sabihin, yung z natin naka-express in terms of x and y. Okay? So yung bounds for z natin, okay? Yung gagamitin nating bounds for z natin, yung upper bound, yung nasa taas, obviously from the region or from the figure, yung upper bound natin is bounded by the sphere. Okay? So the function of above is now defined by, so sabi ko nga kanina, dapat z as a function of x and y. So ang z natin is equal to the square root of 9 minus x squared minus y squared. So nanggaling itong equation na to? Nanggaling ito sa equation ng sphere. Sinolve lang natin yung value ng z in terms of x and y. Okay? Then, after that, after determining the function above, okay, kailangan din natin ng function below. Okay? So yung nasa baba na region is actually the function defined by the cone. Okay? So the function below is defined by the cone. Z equals the square root of x squared plus y squared. So pagsulat ng integral in writing the bounds for z, madali na kasi nakikita mo na yung expression. So yung lower bound of the integral natin is given by the square root of x squared plus y squared. The upper bound is given by square root of 9 minus x squared minus y squared. So okay na tayo dun sa innermost integral. Ang susunod naman natin kukunin ay yung nasa middle integral at yung nasa outermost integral. And that is defined by the variables x and y. Okay? So since they are defined by the variables x and y, ibig sabihin, itong solid na to, ipoproject mo on the xy plane. Kung ipoproject natin on the xy plane, so kumbaga parang i-collapse mo siya on the xy plane, mapapansin nyo, yung magiging projection niya on the xy plane is actually a circle. Okay? Yung circle na yan ay yung boundary ng cone. The circle is actually the intersection of the cone and the sphere. So we have to determine the equation of that intersection. Okay? So kailangan natin kuhanin yung equation of that intersection, and you can determine that by equating these two expressions. So we have the square root of 9 minus x squared minus y squared equals the square root of x squared plus y squared. So we will be having an equation of a circle given by x squared plus y squared equals 9 over 2. So if you solve the equation of the circle, if you solve the system, you will get this equation. Square root of, x squared plus y squared equals 9 over 2. So we have a circle of radius 3 over square root of 2. So yan yung magiging bounds natin for x and y. Okay. So ayusin ko lang. So meron tayong equation ng circle. Ano nangyari sa kanya? Okay. So we have an equation of the circle. Okay. So let's say this is our x-axis. This is our y-axis. Tapos, ang kukunin natin, take note, the equation of this circle is given by x squared plus y squared equals 9 over 2. And ang gawin natin ay kunin natin yung vertical strip. Okay? Now, we have a vertical strip. So we will actually determine the area of this region. Okay. So kung vertical strip ang gagamitin natin, so we have a vertical rectangle. Take note that rectangle will move from left to right. Okay? So that will determine the bounds of x. That will determine the bounds of x from left to right. So yung x natin will be the outermost variable in our triple integral. Okay? So that vertical rectangle will move from left to right. So yung pinaka-left na point of that pinaka-left point of that rectangle is given by negative 3 over square root of 2. 3 over square root of 2 is actually the radius of the circle. Okay? So that will give you the lower bound for x. Okay? Then it will move going to the right at yung rightmost point of that vertical rectangle is given by 3 over square root of 2. So that is the upper bound of x. So meron ka ng bounds for x ngayon. The bounds for x, lower bound is negative 3 over square root of 2. The upper bound is 3 over square root of 2. Now, how about the bounds for y? Yung bounds for y, consider mo ulit yung vertical rectangle. So take note yung vertical rectangle na yan that is bounded by the function above and function below. So yung function above natin will be a function of y in terms of x. Yung function below natin will be a function of y in terms of x also. Okay. From this equation, x squared plus y squared equals 9 over 2, isosolve natin yung value for y. Pag isosolve natin yung value for y, you will be having two equations. One is square root of 9 over 2 minus x squared. The other one is negative square root of 9 over 2 minus x squared. And those will be your bounds for y. Okay? So yung lower bound natin is the lower semicircle that is given by the equation negative square root of 9 over 2 minus x squared. The upper bound is the upper semicircle, and that is given by square root of 9 over 2 minus x squared. So, finally, you should get this triple integral in Cartesian coordinate system. So notice, yung outermost integral, ito yung sinabi ko sa inyo kanina. These are the bounds for x. Yung nasa middle integral natin will be the bounds for y. And yung innermost integral natin will be the bounds for z. Okay? And of course, yung integrand natin, x squared plus y squared plus z squared is not changed. Okay? Since we are using Cartesian coordinate system. Okay? Klaro tayo dito? Before we proceed to cylindrical coordinate system, entertain ko muna kung merong questions. Okay. So, kung walang question, we move to the next part, and that is we find the volume using the cylindrical coordinate system. Okay? Sa cylindrical coordinate system, ang importante dito ay hahanapin lang natin yung mga bounds nito in terms of cylindrical coordinates or in polar coordinates in the 3D space. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, itong integrand natin, x squared plus y squared plus z squared. Yung x squared plus y squared natin ay papalitan natin ng r squared. Okay? And of course, yung functions natin above and below will also be expressed in terms of cylindrical coordinates. Okay? So yung function above natin, yung function above, again, is the sphere. Kanina, sphere siya given by this. Square root of 9 minus x squared minus y squared. If it is expressed in terms of cylindrical coordinates, that will be z equals square root of 9 minus r squared. Because we know that x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So yung x squared plus y squared na component ng equation will be expressed as r squared. Similarly, with the cone, our function below, okay, yung function natin sa baba, given by the cone, ang equation natin kanina is z equals square root of x squared plus y squared. Again, yung x squared plus y squared ay papalitan natin ng r squared. Then we take the square root of r squared, so we should get the function below to be z equals r. Okay? So similar to what we did with Cartesian coordinates a while ago, itong yung functions natin on the xy plane, okay? I mean, yung solid natin, ipoproject ulit natin on the xy plane. But in this case, that will be r theta plane, not xy plane ngayon kasi nasa cylindrical coordinate system na tayo. Again, similar to what we have a while ago, the intersection or the projection of that solid on the r theta plane is actually a circle. Okay? Yung equation natin ng circle kanina, balikan ko lang, the equation of the circle a while ago is this one. X squared plus y squared equals 9 over 2. Okay? Now, co-convert natin to into polar coordinates. Yung x squared plus y squared ay papalitan natin ng r squared. So we have r squared equals 9 over 2. Solving for r, you will get 3 over square root of 2. So the projection of the solid in the xy plane, sorry, they should be r theta plane, is given by r equals 3 over 2. So again, we have a circle in the r theta plane. Okay. So yung bounds natin for z in the triple integral or in the volume, ito na, kita na natin, lower bound natin is r, upper bound natin is 9, square root of 9 minus r squared. Okay. Then yung next naman ay bounds natin for r. So we have a circle in the r theta plane. So kung meron tayong circle in the r theta plane, what will be the bounds for r? Okay. So again, we have a circle in r theta plane, and the circle is defined by the equation 3 over square root of 2. So dito, magkikreate ka ng line, okay, from the origin going to the region on the circle, going to the circle. Okay? So yung r is actually the length of this line segment. Starting from the origin, going to the point on the circle. And the distance of the point from the origin to the origin is of course 0. And the distance of the point to the region, to the circle, is given by 3 over square root of 2. So that will give you the bounds for R. R natin, lower bound natin for R is 0. Upper bound natin for R is 3 over square root of 2. Now, how about the bounds for theta? The bounds for theta, take note, this line segment, i-rotate mo siya around the whole circle. So you will start with the positive x-axis, and the positive x-axis is defined by theta equals 0. Papaikutin mo siya into one revolution. Okay? Yung isang ikot, that is given by theta equals 2 pi. So yung bounds natin for theta is given by 0 to 2 pi. Okay? So that will give you the volume of the solid. Okay? Yung bounds natin for R is 0 to 3 over square root of 2. Ang bounds natin for theta is given by 0 to 2 pi. Again, yung integrand natin kanina, which is x squared plus y squared plus z squared, yung x squared plus y squared doon ay papalitan natin ng r squared to conform with the cylindrical coordinate system. Okay? And of course, huwag kakalimutan yung multiplier na r sa integrand. That is important. Okay? So this is the volume using the cylindrical coordinate system. And take note, if you evaluate this integral, the value of that should also be equal to the value of the triple integral in the Cartesian coordinate system. Okay? Since they are just defining just one solid. Okay? Okay, okay pa tayo? Alright, may nag-raise ng hand. Yes, AC Mendoza. Please unmute and ask your question. AC? Okay, piniem niya sa akin yung question niya. Sa quiz po ito, kapag po binago ang bounds for theta, saka lang po magmumultiply ng constant sa labas po ng integral. Medyo hindi ko gets yung ano, hindi ko gets yung question. Ano pong ibig sabihin nito? Kapag daw binago yung bounds for theta, saka lang po magmumultiply ng constant sa labas po ng integral. Okay. I think you are asking for symmetries. Okay? If you are asking for symmetries, take note kanina yung kinonsider natin ay yung buong circle. Yung kinonsider natin ay yung buong circle, so yung bounds natin for theta will be 0 to 2 pi. But kung mapapansin nyo, yung solid natin, okay, kung titingnan mo siya on the first, second, third, and fourth quadrant, pare-pareho siya, di ba? So kung pare-pareho siya, what you can do is instead of finding the volume of the whole solid, pwede natin gawin, isanapin na lang natin yung volume on the first octant. Kung hahanapin natin yung volume on the first octant, ang i-consider lang natin on the xy plane is the first quadrant. If you will consider the solid on the first quadrant, yung magiging bounds natin for theta will be 0 to pi over 2. Kung yung bounds natin for theta ay 0 to pi over 2, so ang kinukuha mo lang na volume dito is actually the volume of the solid on the first octant. Since you are just getting the volume of the solid on the first octant, and since pare-pareho naman siya ng solid dun sa apat na regions considered, so you can multiply it by 4. So instead of 0 to 2 pi, gawin mong 0 to pi over 2, tapos may multiplier ka na 4 dito. Or pwede mong gawin is instead of the first octant, kuhanin mo lang yung volume on the first two quadrants. First two octants. Octants 1 and 2. Na kapag pinroject mo on the xy plane or on the r theta plane, makikita mo lang siya on the first and second quadrant. So yung bounds natin for theta will be 0 to pi. So kung 0 to pi yung kinuha natin, ang volume na kino-consider lang natin is just half of the solid. So you multiply it by 2 to get the whole solid. And take note, mag-work lang siya kapag meron tayong symmetries. Symmetries in the sense na pag hinati mo into 4 or hinati mo into 2, yung solid mo, pare-pareho yung makukuha mong chunks of pieces. Did that answer your question? Sana tama ako ng pagkakaintindi din sa question. Yes. Okay. Good. Okay. So, let's move to the spherical coordinates. Okay? So, dito sa spherical coordinates, kailangan lang nito ng mahabang pasensya in determining the bounds of integration. Okay? First, you have to know how to convert your equations into spherical equations, and you have to know how to convert your coordinates, let's say, from Cartesian to spherical. Okay? So dito, unlike with in Cartesian and in cylindrical, ang kailangan natin yung function above and function below. Okay? So spherical coordinates, hindi ganun ang kailangan natin. Ang kailangan natin ay yung mga bounds for rho, theta, and phi. Okay? Okay, anyway, since hindi naman ito necessary, pero ipakita ko na lang din, yung function above natin is defined by the sphere. Take note, the equation of the sphere is x squared plus y squared plus z squared equals 9. Pag kinonvert natin into spherical coordinates, you should get, kapag kinuha mo yung spherical coordinates, this should be rho equals 3. Okay? Yung function below natin, that is actually given by the cone, okay? In Cartesian coordinates, that is z equals square root of x squared plus y squared. But in spherical coordinates, ano yung defining equation natin below? Anyone? If you review your spherical coordinate system, ano yung defining equation natin? That is actually defined by the cone, tama? Defined by the cone given by z equals square root of x squared plus y squared, okay, in the Cartesian coordinate system. But in the spherical coordinate system, ano yung defining equation natin? What is the equation of the cone in the spherical coordinate system? Rho equals 0? No. Try again. That is actually very important, especially if we convert later into spherical coordinate system to determine the bounds. So, kailangan din natin talaga yung equation ng cone na yan. The equation of the cone is kahit yung mga nanonood sa YouTube, you can type in your answer. Rho equals R. Sorry, no.
Bakit sino nag-aaway? Tsaka, Eril at saka sino?
Alam, may nag-aaway na daw. pag alam na equation ng cone.
Sino kalaban ni Eril?
Name anyone, just give me a correct answer.
Sino kalaban ni Eril?
What is the equation of the cone in the spherical coordinate system? Hala, natutulog pa ata itong mga to. Gising pa ba kayo? Okay. I will give you a hint. Ito, may nagsagot na. Clue. One po. Wrong. Equation. Dapat equation ng ano natin. Equation ng sagot natin. Okay? Pero 1, mali. Kung R equals 1, or Rho equals 1, theta equals 1, mali pa rin yun. Okay? So I will give you a hint. Okay. In the spherical coordinate system, importante yung phi. Okay? Ano ang phi? May nagsagot R. Oh, ayun, may nakakuha na. Phi equals pi over 4. That is correct. Phi equals pi over 4. Paano nakuha yung phi equals pi over 4? Yung phi natin, take note, from the positive z-axis, the positive z-axis is the vertical line. Okay? Yung phi is from that vertical line, i-rotate mo lang siya pababa. Okay? So, i-rotate mo siya pababa, tatama siya dun sa cone. So, you have now an angle from the positive z-axis going to the cone. Okay? So, take note, kahit nasa ang part ka ng cone, yung angle of the angle formed by that positive z-axis with the cone is constant. And that constant is given by pi over 4. Okay? You can also determine that by substituting the equations you have for z, for x, and for y. So yung z, x, and y ay papalitan mo ng rho, theta, and phi. And if you solve the equation, you should get phi equals pi over 4. Okay? So, malinaw tayo doon. That is actually very important in the spherical coordinate system. Okay? So, kung hindi nyo pa rin nakuha kung bakit pi over 4, again, from the equation of the cone, from this equation, yung z palitan mo ng rho phi theta, yung x and y palitan mo rin ng rho phi theta. Okay? Then, you just do some algebraic manipulations to get phi equals pi over 4. Okay? So, that is the function below. Phi equals pi over 4. Okay. So ngayon, kuhanin naman natin yung mga bounds. Okay. Actually, yung projection of the solid in the xy plane, hindi na importante in the spherical coordinate system. Okay? Hindi na siya kailangan. Ang kailangan na lang natin ngayong hanapin ay yung bounds for rho, theta, and phi. Okay. Let's start with rho. Ano ngayon yung magiging bounds for rho? Okay, so take note, ang gagawin natin is magkikreate tayo ng isang line segment. Okay? So imagine that you have a line segment na nanggagaling sa origin. So if you have a line segment na nanggagaling sa origin, papaikutin mo lang yan or gagalawin mo lang yung line segment na yan dun sa buong solid. Okay? So kung dun sa buong solid, papaikutin mo lang yung line segment na yan, you will notice na hindi nababago yung length of that line segment. Okay? Again, hindi nababago yung length of that line segment. My question now is, what is the length of that line segment? Sige nga. So take note, ang kinukuha natin dito yung sa solid. Okay? So imagine that we have a line segment. At yung line segment na yan, papaikutin lang natin siya or gagalawin lang natin siya hanggang makuha natin yung buong solid. Okay? Yung line segment nang gagaling sa origin, papaikutin mo lang and you will notice hindi nababago yung length ng line segment. What is the length of that line segment? 3. That is correct. Because that is defined by the sphere. Okay? Defined siya dun sa sphere. So, ibig sabihin yan lang, yung line segment na yan, tumatama siya lagi dun sa sphere. Okay? And the radius of the sphere is 3. Okay? So, yung bounds natin for rho is 0 to 3. Okay? So that is very interesting in the spherical coordinate system. Take note, if you have a sphere in the Cartesian coordinate system, mahaba yung equation natin. X squared plus y squared plus z squared equals r squared. Pero kapag kinonvert mo na siya into spherical coordinate system, you'll just be having rho equals r, or the radius of the sphere. Okay? So that is the bound for rho. How about for theta? Ano naman yung magiging bounds natin for theta? Actually, if you know how the bounds for theta in the cylindrical coordinate system, kung ano yung bounds niya in the cylindrical coordinate system, yun din yung bounds niya in the spherical coordinate system. So a while ago, ang bounds natin for the cylindrical coordinate system is 0 to 2 pi. So in the spherical coordinate system, ang bounds natin for theta is again 0 to 2 pi. Okay? That means yung theta definition in the cylindrical coordinate system is the same as the theta definition in the spherical coordinate system. Okay? Now, how about for phi? Yung phi naman natin, again, magsisimula tayo with the positive z-axis. Okay? So you have a ray or a line segment in the positive z-axis. Ang gagawin mo lang, yung phi kasi is yung angle na nafo-form from the positive z-axis pababa. Okay? So kung from the positive z-axis, papababain mo lang siya, pero yung pagbaba ng line segment na yan ay hanggang dun sa boundary lamang ng cone. Okay? So hanggang dun sa boundary lamang ng cone, so ang bounds natin for phi is 0 to, ito na, phi equals pi over 4. So that is the bounds for phi. 0 to pi over 4. Hanggang dun lang kasi siya sa cone. Okay? Kaya sabi ko kanina, importante na alam nyo yung equation ng cone. Okay? Because that will determine the bounds of phi. Okay. Now, dun sa dv natin, meron pa tayong, dun sa integral natin in spherical coordinates, di ba meron tayong dv. Ang dv natin is merong d rho, d theta, d phi. Meron pa tayong multiplier doon. Huwag kakalimutan, ang multiplier natin doon ay rho squared sine phi. Okay? Meron tayong rho squared sine phi. Then yung integral natin ay, yung integrand natin is x squared plus y squared plus z squared. And in spherical coordinate system, that is rho squared. So this should give you the volume of the solid in the spherical coordinate system. Take note, bounds natin for phi is 0 to pi over 4. Bounds natin for theta is 0 to 2 pi. Bounds natin for rho is 0 to 3. And yung multiplier natin in the integrand is rho squared sine phi. At itong rho squared natin, this is actually an equation or an expression in the spherical coordinate system. So this will give you the volume of the solid. And if you notice, based from the three expressions, mas simple ang spherical coordinate system. Kaya lang, again, kailangan ng konting pasensya, okay, in converting the equations into spherical coordinates. So yun lang yung challenge dito. But once na nakuha mo na on how to derive the equations in spherical coordinates, there will be expressions na mas madali mo nang makocompute because it is easier to find in the spherical coordinates. Okay? If you notice din dito sa mga bounds, puro mga constants na yung bounds natin. Unlike dun sa cylindrical and Cartesian, puro yung mga nasa inner integrals natin ay may mga variables pa. Okay, so ito, pwede mo paghiwa-hiwalayin yung mga expressions, okay, to get the value of the integral. Okay. Okay, so do you have any more questions? Naintindihan ba yung sinabi ko? Okay, ito merong nag-raise ng hand. Yes. What's your question?
Sir, when will the consultation hours of the professors in the mathematics building be released po? Just in case na after this week po, we still wanna work on some exercises na we missed or some quizzes na hindi po namin agad nasagutan. Ako kasi po, I've only finished up until 3.11. Although nag-aaral na po ako ng 4.1 and 4.2. I want to like do the quizzes properly po and be able to consult din po with professors.
Okay, so if that is the case, the consultation hours of the faculty will be released siguro pag nag-start na ang semester. Pero kung may mga questions ka, pwede ka naman mag-message doon sa discussion sa FB group natin. Okay?
Mm.
Mas magandang mag-message ka doon para at least mas maraming nakakakita na faculty ng question mo. So kung meron silang time, they can answer your queries.
Okay po. That's sir, yung isa pong BP discussion sa YouTube, yung nasa channel nyo po, yung number 2, hindi po siya nakalabas sa channel nyo. Unlisted po siya.
Yeah. Pero
Ah,
nilagay ko naman sa FB group yung link nung discussion na yun.
okay po. Yun lang po sir. Thank you so much po.
Alright. Nadalian ba kayo sa spherical and Cartesian? Medyo challenging lang siya kasi kailangan mo i-convert yung mga equations into this coordinate system na hindi pa tayo sanay with this coordinate system. Okay? Okay, so ito merong question sa cylindrical coordinate system. Nagmumultiply po kasi doon sa example sa YouTube ng constant 2 sa cylindrical integration since upper hemisphere pa lang daw po nakuha doon sa coordinates without the constant po. Kahit ang bounds po ng theta ay 0 to 2 pi, bakit hindi po na-apply yung pagmumultiply po ng constant 2? Sa example from the exercise. Okay. Doon sa YouTube, ang kinukuha natin, ay yung volume ng sphere. Okay? So take note, yung volume ng sphere, pero ang pinakita ko lang doon ay yung upper hemisphere. Okay? Take note, kung ang consider lang natin ay upper hemisphere, pinroject mo siya on the xy plane. Okay? Kung pinroject mo siya on the xy plane, yung theta na mako-consider mo ay yung buong circle pa rin. Correct? Pero notice na yung bounds natin for z, okay? Yung bounds natin for z in the YouTube is from 0 to the upper portion of the sphere. Pero ang kailangan natin is the volume of the whole sphere. Okay? So yung bounds natin for z, B10, from 0 lang siya hanggang dun sa upper portion. Pero ang kailangan natin na yung buong sphere. Kaya nag-multiply tayo ng 2. Okay? To compensate yung hindi natin na-consider dun sa bounds for z. Okay? Pero dito sa example natin, take note, hindi tayo nag-multiply nung kinonsider natin yung theta na 0 to 2 pi kasi na-consider naman natin yung buong solid na. Take note, yung upper bound mo ay yung sphere, yung lower bound mo ay yung cone. So na-consider mo yung buong solid. So no need to have a multiplier. That's why it is very important to have a grasp of the solid, to draw the solid para nakikita mo ano yung nangyayari dun sa mga bounds na kinoconsider mo. Para kung meron kang hindi na-consider dun sa mga bounds, i-compensate mo yon by multiplying some constant to your expression. Okay? Did I answer your question? Kaya importante na kikita mo rin yung mga bounds, ano yung nako-consider mo dun sa mga bounds. Okay? Yeah, medyo nakakalito, no? Especially kasi kapag nakikita mo yung mga buong expressions na. It's okay. Pag nakikita mo kasi yung buong expressions, hindi mo nako-consider or hindi mo nakikita ano yung nangyayari dun sa loob. Okay? So that's why it's very important to know ano yung representation ng mga bounds na to. Okay, so kung wala na kayong questions, I would like to turn on your video para lang sa ating final photo op. Yung mga nasa YouTube, pwede kayong mag-transfer ngayon sa Zoom. Wait, ilalagay ko yung link. Okay, mga nasa Zoom, transfer kayo sa, yung mga nasa YouTube, transfer kayo sa Zoom para lang sa ating final picture. Maya-maya nang umiti. Sabihin ko na lang para hindi naman mangalay ang inyong mga bibig sa pagngiti. Pero hintay lang tayo ng mga 1 minute. Mukhang marami sa atin kakagising lang. Okay lang yan. Ako din, kakagising ko lang halos. Okay, mukhang yung iba ayaw sumali sa ating picture. Picture taking. Okay. So, ayan. Isang frame lang. Mabilis lang mag-picture. Okay, smile. Hintay ko lang mag-load yung iba. Ayan. Okay. Okay. So, thank you. Okay, so kung wala na kayong mga questions, take note that before you get certificate of completion, okay, pakisagutan lahat ng quizzes. Okay lang magkamali. Pag nagkamali kayo at hindi nyo pa masyadong naintindihan yung concept dun sa quizzes, tanungin nyo lang kami. Okay, you can message us in the FB group. Okay, or you can send an email. And of course, thank you for reminding, pakisagutan yung exit form. Okay? Marami na nagsagot ng exit form. Maraming salamat sa inyong mga inputs. Okay? At least ito magagamit namin para sa darating na remote learning natin this first semester. Okay? Yan. Nagtanong kung pwede daw i-upload yung answer key sa FB. Yes, Ma'am Kai, pwede mo nang i-upload. Okay? So, yung iba kung naghahanap ng answers doon sa mga exercises, i-upload ni Ma'am Kyrel yung answer key. Kaya namin hindi pa ina-upload before kasi gusto namin na sagutan nyo muna yung mga exercises. Okay? So, I think that's all. Kung wala na kayong questions, thank you very much for participating in the bridging program. All right? Bye-bye.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Thank you
po.
po.
Thank you po.
Thank you po.